the Cultural Arts Commission at 415 Diamond Street, Redondo Beach, at City Council Chamber at 7. Can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Good evening. Commissioner Gold,
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Commissioner Pitzel.
Here.
Did I pronounce that properly?
It's Mrs. Pitsley.
Pitzley? Okay, great. Thank you. Commissioner Tanner,
Here.
Vice Chair O'Brien Herrera,
Here.
Chair Christian Kelly.
Here.
Okay, just want to note the absence of Commissioner Melendez, and we have a quorum.
Yay. Okay. Can I have all the commissioners do a salute to the flag? All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. It's like Lily Tomlin chairs. They're so big. Okay. Okay, approve order of agenda. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to approve the order of agenda as is?
I move to approve the agenda as is.
A second?
I second.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Okay, great. Thank you.
Michelle and Michelle, it's easy.
Michelle and Michelle. Okay, blue folder items.
I'm sorry, Chair, we do need to do a vote for that.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
No,
that's
that's
correct.
okay.
I truly apologize. So all in favor, so we just voted all in favor, right? So that was Michelle and Michelle. And any opposed? No, and motion carries.
Correct, yes, thank you.
Okay, you got it. All right, now I can go on to blue folder items. Are there any blue folder?
There are none this evening.
None? Okay. Is there a motion to receive and file the blue folder items?
We don't have any this evening.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We don't have any. Okay, we don't have to worry about that, so I can just go right straight to consent calendar, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Business items except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion are assigned to the consent calendar. The commission members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed, and acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken up under the excluded consent calendar section below. Those items remaining on the consent calendar will be approved in one motion following oral communications. Okay, affidavit of posting.
Well, we could see if anyone wants to pull either of the items, the affidavit of posting or the John Parsons Public Art Fund.
Okay.
Are the minutes of the last meeting in the consent calendar?
They are not. We just received several backtracked meeting minutes, so those will be on the upcoming agenda. We just received those today, so those will be on the forthcoming agenda.
Are the minutes of today's meeting will be in next meeting's consent calendar?
I don't know. I don't know how quickly those can be turned around.
Is there a particular reason why there is a delay?
I can't speak exactly to what that is. The city does have an outside consultant that does all of the meeting minutes for the city, and so I'm assuming it has to do with their projects and other items that they have already on their books, but I would have to follow up with the clerk's office on the timing of the meeting minutes for today. I do know that there has been, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I do know because I'm a liaison for a few other commissions. Those have also been a little bit backtracked, and within the past month or two, the minutes secretaries have done a lot of work to try to get everyone updated. There has been a little bit of catch up with the new consultant being brought on board maybe a month or two ago, so it's fairly recent with that transition. So I know that there is a really strong desire to get all of the commissions updated so that there won't be months and months of no minutes. So I think this is an anomaly with the timing.
Okay, Madam Chairman, I just wanted to say that I think it's very important that we see the minutes of the last meetings and we approve them.
I agree.
And I think we should make at least a wish to the staff that it would be very helpful if we can get the meetings. And given today's technology and the fact that all these meetings are being videotaped, it shouldn't really be too much of a problem to get those meetings transcribed. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
So
we
if you could relay that to the city management, because, we spend a lot of time here, doing our work. And I think it would be very helpful if we can see the meeting minutes.
Of course, no,
Thank
we
you.
can certainly share that.
I know that, it's also patiently waiting for the whole staff, and to me, it's understandable too, that it just is, sometimes it is a work in progress, and so we will patiently wait and hope that it'll get there, and I'm sure it will soon. Okay. So with that, shall I make
Unless there's any items to pull, we can entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
okay, can I, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and that's Victoria and Michelle. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We'll go to, then now it's okay to go the affidavit of posting?
No, we just
Or
approved that,
the-
so we can
sorry,
actually
sorry, that
move.
John-
That's
F2,
okay.
the
We
John
can,
Parsons, right?
well, no, that was just approved. So we
Oh.
can move on to item H, actually, because we have no excluded items.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay, so this section is intended to provide members of the public with opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. Written requests, if any, will be considered first under this section. All right. Is there anyone from the public, right, to wish to speak? All right, wonderful.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. I was here in January, except I didn't know Mr. Meyer, so nice to see you. I'm Rick McQuillan. I'm working with Jim Mueller and Sandy Onlu on our Artesia Community Project. Last time in January, I shared a quote from Pablo Picasso. I'm going to repeat it. He said, "When art critics get together, they talk about form and structure and meaning. When artists get together, they talk about where you can buy cheap turpentine." I'm just sorry to repeat that, but I rarely have an audience who can relate, and Picasso never gets old. So anyway, I'm the tech guy on our project, and I'm working on a new type of app I call community commerce. One goal of the app is to bring an advantage back to local retailers from online. It'll bring residents and merchants closer together and draw visitors. We all need that for our health, for our social lives, and for our city, for the life of our city. Sandy and Jim are making fantastic progress with murals, and they'll tell you about that. I'm just beginning to visualize a more beautiful and inviting Artesia Boulevard already. My goal is to combine several elements for a unique magical experience with public art, beautiful storefronts, creative merchandising, vacancies filled with a desirable mix of businesses, and the technology to transform each visit into a joyful occasion and accomplishment. And I'm working on 3 tech modules to support this. The design Artesia for residents to tell us what they want from the boulevard, then activate Artesia so they'll know what's happening, and see Artesia to visit and fulfill their needs. Our team's working with the mayor, the city, citizen groups, city council, planning commission, youth commission, and you. Tomorrow, I'm meeting with several Redondo Union students to discuss how they can help with our projects. So we're bringing in the community and the future of our community. I'm just going to finish with another one of my favorite quotes. I love quoting brilliant people. This is from Claude Monet. He said, "Colors pursue me like a constant worry. They even worry me in my sleep." And I'm a tech guy and I'm not very artistic, but sometimes when I wake up at 4 a.m. wondering how to design something, to pick an alternative, solve a problem, what to name some process or button, which I'm doing these problems all the time. Sometimes I think about Monet waking up tortured about what ocean shades to use in Impression Sunrise. And I think, I bet this is how Monet felt. so call me crazy, but let's have fun with a merger of art, technology, and commerce. That's it. Thanks for listening. We had a delightful card exchange last time. I think I've exchanged cards with everyone except for Mr. Meyer. May I give you my card, please? Just give me my card, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's some, yes, of course.
Good evening. My name is Jim Mueller. I live in District 5. Recently, I drove eastbound on Artesia Boulevard and then turned around and drove westbound. I counted more than 20 blank walls visible from the street and large enough to be a canvas, so to speak, for a mural big enough to be seen not only by pedestrians, but by passing motorists. And I thought how much information and feeling a large mural conveys all at once about a community and the kind of people who live there. Hermosa Beach has several murals that have those qualities. There's the surfer mural on the parking garage, the lighthouse history mural, unfortunately hidden in an alley, the amazing mural on the big bank building, also pretty much hidden. If murals as good as those were painted on some of those blank walls along Artesia Boulevard, they wouldn't be hidden. They'd be visible to both motorists and pedestrians and create an artistic presence, an atmosphere so strong that people would come to the boulevard just to see them and be present. And of course, they might see an item or two to buy there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sandy Anlou. I live at 2100 Aviation Way. A proud Redondo Beach resident. I'm a former business owner in Hermosa Beach and a past volunteer for the Hermosa Beach Mural Project. I've witnessed firsthand the power of a symbiotic relationship between business and the community. It's a beautiful exchange that uplifts both parties. The residents near Artesia Boulevard deserve more than just a place to pass through. They deserve a vibrant, welcoming space to enjoy their friends and families. Equally, our local businesses thrive when we show them the support they deserve. By beautifying the Artesia corridor with art, we can create a sense of pride, elevate property values, and pave the way for other extraordinary businesses to establish themselves here. Together, we can transform Artesia into a flourishing hub for both community and commerce. I'm lucky enough to be in a relationship with an amazing artist, and he has some amazing friends who are artists as well. They did a rendering of 2505 Artesia. The first one is from Ryan Basilio, and his resume's here. I can give you I don't know if I can pass around.
Kelly, does it get presented to you, or how?
No, if we can pass it around, but we do need a motion to receive and file the item.
Okay, I make a motion to receive and file.
I second the motion.
Okay, thank you. And the second one is Alex Weinstein, and they've placed bids on the approximate value, and my favorite is Ken Pagliaro. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Georgette Gantner. I used to be on the Public Art Commission for 10 years. I was just wondering if there will be an accounting or someone's keeping track. I know you can't probably answer, but just something to think about. Because we have $450,000 there to invest, and I know it's for beautification and public art, but I was wondering when that process begins, is someone keeping track of the fact that so much of it needs to go to public art? And I'm not sure exactly how that will be allocated, but I'm hoping that someone will do that, because beautification means many things. And it probably means, like maybe pavers or whatever, something to clean the place up or to beautify. But if someone can keep track of what public art, maybe public art should be vetted before the beautification so that things are in place, a budget is made, and that public art definitely is kept track of and make sure that it does get installed. So, thank you. And the other thing I just want to mention too is, I don't know, with this ongoing project that's happening, maybe the Cultural Arts Commission should meet once a month instead of every 2 months. I know that's how it was always every other month, but maybe it needs to be more often. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna look. Okay. Because I have to, I'll look at that. I want to look at that. Okay. All right, is there any online comments? No online comments?
Madam Chair, can we comment on any of the stuff that we
Yeah,
heard?
do you want to do, are we allowed to do a little brief about it, or?
We can briefly discuss. I just want to make sure it doesn't turn into a full discussion, but I just want to make sure there's no one else in the audience that wants to speak. Okay, so we'll close public participation.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we'll take closed public, yeah. So now,
Yeah?
you can, yeah,
Oh, thank
briefly.
you. Well, thank you for all the, I think, 4 comments, very incredibly helpful. I also happen to live in District 5 and very close to Artesia Boulevard, and I cannot agree with you all more that we need some major murals for all the benefits that has been discussed here. With regards to Hermosa, the model at Hermosa Beach deserves to be studied because it's a private group, not the city itself, which does those murals, obviously in cooperation and with the consent of the city. Maybe that's a model that we can develop here at Redondo Beach as well, because things can move very slowly here for a variety of reasons. Obviously, we would be very much willing to play an active role in that project, but if there is a way that we can also form a not-for-profit private enterprise to take this on, either limited to the Artesia Boulevard, and I always use the term Artesia District rather than Artesia Corridor, that's something that we can probably discuss in our future meetings. As for the frequency of meeting once a month, I'm all for it. And those are my only comments.
Okay, does anybody else want to add?
Thank you.
I could be behind that too. Maybe meeting more frequently. I know is this too soon for me to discuss, but I feel like the Olympics are coming, right? And there's going to be a lot of people coming to Los Angeles, and that there might be a draw to bring people to Redondo. And if that's the case, we would have to start doing things now if we're going to bring in artists and make murals and beautify and we already have the skate park. That's going to be a big draw for a lot of people. So the pier area, and then getting people through from, if they're coming in from Los Angeles, they're going to be going through Artesia. So I just feel like meeting more often would make things happen a little smoother.
Is this something where we could, in the future, have a full
Certainly, yeah, if the commission
panel
would
and
like to.
discuss it? And then also maybe, is that where also future subcommittees can be maybe formed? Because that really helps a lot with certain projects I know in the past that we've
Yeah,
done. And
yeah.
so,
Well, there's a few different ways you can go about doing this. I would recommend you either bring it up under item K and we can agendize it for a future discussion to kind of really get a pulse for the entire commission. Or if you all are in agreement, it could be something that could be added to the strategic plan recommendation to the council for staff to explore meeting more frequently for this commission and what that would mean, and the council can then take action on it then. So I guess it's more of a question of, if you bring it up during strategic plan, if you guys are all on the same page, we can move that forward to council immediately, or we can agendize it for a future discussion under item K.
Future discussion, please, considering that we don't have all of our commissioners here.
so that would be under item K.
If you would like it to be a future discussion, yes.
Yeah.
Why don't we wait until we hear the strategic plan discussion? Maybe there is an area that we can plug this in.
We can certainly, yeah, we can
do it
certainly
on the
consider it.
strategic
It's
plan
up to, it's up to you guys. If someone wants to bring it up and it's a discussion, we can do it during that item.
So on J1, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
J1, yes.
Okay, we can put it there because we're going to almost be there.
Yes, it's the next item, yeah.
Okay, so, okay. Can we move forward then?
Sure. Okay, so we can move on to item J1 then. Good time, good segue. So I'll just provide a,
I'm sorry, did we skip item I?
well, we don't have any items
Yeah, we don't have
continuing
any
from previous agendas.
From previous agendas.
Oh.
So we're going to items for discussion prior to action, and then that's when we go to J1, and so you can add what you just were asking about in there.
I was actually thinking about the thing that we have resolved in our last meeting about defining the scope of the Cultural Arts Commission. Where would that be to discuss it?
Oh, is that the bylaws?
The bylaws.
So forgive me, I probably should have introduced Jack to you all. This is Jack Meyer. He's the new Cultural Arts Manager. For those that, I'm sure you all have heard that our former Cultural Arts Manager is no longer with the city. So Jack is taking the reins with that. And so there's a little bit of catch up that Jack and I are going to be doing to make sure that you all have what you need and that the agendas move forward. But for this month, just because of the transition, there probably are items on the agenda that we missed. So I do apologize for that. Between this meeting and the next one, we will get ourselves fully updated on anything that was pending and make sure that the agendas have the items that you were expecting to have on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Just to remind everybody, the item agenda is, as you all know, our name has changed from Public Arts Commission to Cultural Arts Commission. But I think we all believe that this is not a cosmetic change, just a name change. I think the expectation from this commission by the council and by the general public is doing things beyond public art, including other forms of art, as the name cultural art implies, including, performance art, music, any kind of arts, maybe even literature. So we just wanted to make sure that we develop a text. As a matter of fact, we have decided to have a discussion about forming a committee to work on this text to be presented to the council. So I think this is a pretty important agenda item. I understand, but let's not delay it too much, because if there's a, misunderstanding between the commission members, what their roles are, and the council or anybody else or the staff, that won't be very fruitful.
Yes.
And if I can just say, I would like to encourage everybody to read the bylaws, everything about the John Parsons Public Art Fund and all of that, just to familiarize yourself with how that goes along with that. So you're familiar with all of that, if I can't say that. Okay, can we now go to
Sure.
J1?
J1.
And discussion and possible action regarding Cultural Arts Commission input for the city's forthcoming strategic plan.
Okay, so I just have a really brief staff report for you on this to kind of get the conversation moving forward. So periodically, the city council does hold a strategic planning session where they map out their goals and objectives, really to create a guidebook for staff so that we know what the priorities are, what we should be focusing on within the timeframe that they set for that strategic plan. And so the council will be doing another strategic planning session at the end of April. And so we are going to all of our commissions as an opportunity for you to provide any recommendations, project ideas, pie in the sky thoughts on what can be potentially added to the strategic plan. We will share the input from the commission with the city council so that when they're drafting their updated strategic plan, they will have your input and for consideration. We did include the current strategic plan merely as an example of what the current work plan looks like. And so hopefully that helps kind of gear your mind into what the projects can be and kind of how they're formatted. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you all to really just have a very a detailed conversation on what you would like to do for the recommendations to the council. Before I do that, I just do want to say that we do recommend, though, just to make sure that the commission's intent is fully captured appropriately, that you all select someone to work with staff to draft that letter. Excuse me, I probably should have mentioned, what we are going to do is make sure that the council receives your input in the form of a letter coming from the commission. Because this commission meets bi-monthly, we won't meet again before they hold their strategic planning session. So what we're recommending is that you all select someone to work with staff, and we together will draft that letter to make sure that we heard the information correctly and that the commissioner agrees with everything. And then that letter will be what is presented to the city council. So this is two parts. If you can select someone to work with staff, and then the second part would be what input you would like to share with the city council. So
And then should we go ahead and start from like left to right and go with each commissioner?
however you'd like to do
Okay,
it,
it's
yeah.
probably better that way than everybody, and then it kind of makes it like, is that okay?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course. And then I just do want to remind, we will have to have public comment on this item as well.
Yes.
So just want to make sure we capture that as well.
All right, can we begin then? with-
Sure. Oh, yes, of course.
Do you want to start with Commissioner Gould?
Meaning if I want to be the person to work with the staff?
Or if there's any ideas that you'd like to throw out, it's however you guys want to hold the discussion. If you want to select someone first, that's fine. Or if you want to kind of,
Do you all want to select someone first and then do a discussion, or how does everybody feel?
I can start.
Yeah, I came with some ideas too, but I'm willing to wait. Yeah, like I can wait.
Okay. So why don't we, it's kind of easier, I think, if it goes, one by one, and I just thought that way it can go, but if you want to go right to left, we can do that way too.
Start with
I
Commissioner
just think
Tanner.
it's easier
I like
that way, so it doesn't bounce back and forth and get confusing for everybody. So go ahead,
Thank you.
begin.
What I would suggest is, from the arts and culture point of view, we don't look at our activities as a line item as this current plan is structured, and I think any strategic plan should be structured like that. So, but the way that our scope basically intersects with almost every single item on this plan. So, for example, if we are talking about attracting business to the city, there's the arts and culture element to it. If we are talking about, Artesia Boulevard improvement, there's a arts and culture element to it. So whatever we do, rather than making this a line item or in addition to making it a line item or a goal or something like that, we basically should give the council the impression that arts and culture are a very important element in achieving all of these goals. And, that I think that would be the message. The second message that I would love to give is something that I've repeated many times. With the Olympics coming to our area in less than 4 years, most of the venues are going to be right around us, all the way from Carson to Torrance to Long Beach to SoFi Stadium and so on and so forth. So when we talk about the interaction of Olympics and the Redondo Beach, the initial thought was, should we host beach volleyball and that kind of stuff? So we shouldn't really concentrate on that. That's not our thing. But we are going to get people from all over the world into our region, starting with almost like 2 years and lasting for a very, very long time. And most of the people here, I believe that they know the positive after effects of any kind of Olympic Games. So today, sports, entertainment, arts and culture are converging. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue. So we need to think about that in any kind of strategic exercise, how we want to incorporate arts and culture with Redondo Beach or our region in general getting a global recognition. So that would be my second important point that I would like to see in a strategic plan. The third one is I personally think there are two major real estate related developments which are going to happen in the near future in Redondo Beach. One of them is in District 5, or is it 4? I don't know, North Redondo. It's the Galleria project. Something is going to happen with the Galleria. The second one is the power plant. I am not really familiar with, what the current city councils and everybody else's ideas are, but a very strong arts and culture element in either or both of these projects can make a huge difference. And I think it can serve most of the goals that are mentioned here in terms of, attracting new businesses, making the city more attractive, and so on and so forth. I don't want to go into details. So, for example, let's briefly talk about the power plant. I have mentioned to the council and to this commission in previous occasions several times that the conversion of the power plant in London into Tate Modern, celebrating only its, I believe, 25th anniversary this year, maybe 30, I can be wrong, but in a very, very short time span has attracted millions of people into that facility. And we have some incredible museums here in Los Angeles, which I believe who would die to have a satellite location as part of the power plant development. It doesn't have to be the entire thing, but with the stacks, the existing buildings, and so on and so forth, I think it makes an ideal venue for a potential contemporary art museum, which, as we all know, attracts a very high quality clientele or visitors to any city, and it's year round. So for our businesses who are suffering during the winter time, it would be an ideal attraction. For our students at Redondo Beach High School or even at elementary schools, it would be a fantastic venue to spend their time, elevate their cultural understanding of what art is all about, and so on and so forth. So in a sense, I understand that both of the venues are privately owned, but I'm sure that the city will have a certain say in what can be developed there and what cannot be developed there. For example, incorporating an arts element into Galleria will change that entire neighborhood. It will elevate the businesses, the understanding, things like that. Lastly, on that front, maybe this is not part of the strategic document, but since I mentioned it so far, let me just add this. There's a lot of money out there, both private and public funds, which can be injected into projects like that. LA County is crazy about arts. They have invested millions and millions of dollars into similar projects. The state of California, likewise. And also, more importantly, there are a lot of private funds which can be attracted if the proper or an attractive idea is put in front of these corporations or foundations. So let me conclude by saying that I think these are the type of things that we need to incorporate into our strategic plan from arts and culture, and make sure that the council also recognizes that what is within our scope basically goes to almost every single item on this plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Victoria?
I'll abstain. I don't have any
Okay.
comment just yet.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a work in progress.
Yes, okay, that's okay. Michelle?
Just to go back to what Tanner said, what a wonderful idea about the power plant. I've never thought of something like that before, and to actually have the possibility or opportunity to bring in an art museum or museum into this area, I just think what a wonderful use for that space. Thank you for those great ideas. Just looking at the strategic plan, there's some areas where it just seems like it makes sense for us to make sure that art is incorporated. One of the first ones that I see is we're looking at the Riviera Village, outdoor dining parkettes, and village parking improvements. That just seems like art should definitely be a part of that. This is a chance that we have, if we're going to make those improvements, to really make sure that we incorporate things to just keep making that area beautiful. I know we have a lot of talk about Artesia, and we really should, but we also can't take our eye off of other parts of the city that have worked so hard to make things so beautiful. So let's make sure that we have art incorporated into all outdoor dining plans. Also, we're looking at doing some things to Seaside Lagoon. I'm not sure if that's too late to incorporate plans for some art there as well. That looks like a nice area for us. I know we do have some sculptures there, but maybe we could have some more things in that area. And I think that is what I have for us today. Thank you.
Okay, you got it. I'm going to have you go, and then I'll come back, so that way you all can go. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so yeah, I have to agree with a lot of what Commissioner Tanner's saying, and I think that we have a lot of opportunity here, and we're kind of at a good time that if we like move now on some ideas, we can get them moving in time to really attract some wonderful people into our neighborhoods when the Olympics come. If we elevate to a certain level of art and we try to attract those artists here now, we'll be able to attract like lots of culture from all over the world. And I think that that's like invaluable for a community like this. So I've been thinking a lot about it. And since meeting last, I went down to Laguna to kind of check out what they're doing with their art scene, like with the perspective of sitting in this chair and being here. So I went down to Laguna, and even in Long Beach, I went down to some museums there, just to kind of see what other cities are doing and see what it is that they're doing that we're not doing. And what I noticed is that they all have a little like hub. There is a gallery that's called like the Long Beach Art Gallery, like there's a Laguna Gallery, and it just seems like there's a center for it. And when you try to search that, you know, just on Google or whatever here, we don't have it. And I think that that would make a huge difference in our city to have somewhere that is a center for it. And I know that we did the skate park thing, and already the pier is a center place. And if we're talking about people coming here, originally Redondo Beach was set up as a destination city, and it was a postcard city, and people come from all over the world because they wanted to buy a postcard to mail the postcard. And this was like the origins of Redondo Beach. Like that's where we started. So before like the fires on the pier and all that. So I think that we could play on that and like say we're like the postcard city. And why wouldn't you want to come here when you've been seeing sports all day? Why wouldn't you want to come and, you know, go to a gallery at night or go out to eat at one of our restaurants in the Riviera? And I think that like we can play on that and pull from that. And we have the setup already. There's parking already, all of that. And if they're coming through the Artesia area and there's modern murals, and if you're talking about the Galleria, like that would be a really good place to kind of catch people along the way. There's plenty of space there, plenty of parking. Like that would be a great hub to have something there. So like my strategic, like how I think about it is, okay, if we want to do something big, and I think we all want that for our city, I think that we could have the Galleria as a really great place to catch people. And it would be cool if we could kind of do a bit of both. And then if we could do something along the way getting all the way to the power plant, now we could have like a pull for people to come to our city and a reason for them to be here. And it could be outside of the games because, you know, the games are one thing and they're going to be all around us in all directions. And you're talking about beach volleyball. I believe that that's in Santa Monica. So that's going to be up there, you know, but there's plenty of other reasons for people to come to our city. And so I think the strategy would be how can we allocate our funds and spread that out. And then also like the main thing is bringing the people together, like who's who. And that's why I was talking about having some sort of hub, like some sort of center. And at this point, I think it's this room, but why can't it be like something on the pier? And can we allocate like funds for a rental space that, and maybe like someone that can sit there and keep the doors open to sign in and see what kind of artists come through. And then we can just build off of a network of people. Because at this point, like that's the main focus, right? To have the network of people, because we already have some funds, that's already, you know, but maybe that won't be enough for these grand, giant ideas. But, you know, if you're talking about bringing private entities in as well, like that's just a network and a web of people that would be on board with these grand ideas that we already sort of have in place. So, so as far as strategy goes, to be clear, I think that we need a hub for a network of people to be able to come through that's out in our community. And how to do that would be maybe a rental space, and maybe hiring a person that could be there to like, you know, it could be, we could do part-time or split shifts, whatever it might be. And the only place that I can think of, there is, I think it's on Hernando, like off of Hernando. There is like an art studio there, and that one's a fairly like sustained place, right? They do classes, they do that kind of stuff. And that's the only hub that I could think of that we have at the moment that's not like just a gallery space. So that's just kind of thoughts that I have. And as far as like now connecting all those people and building on them and seeing who's, you know, willing to work towards this, that would be the next step. Okay.
I like it. I like all of these ideas, and I'm kind of in agreement with, well, not kind of, for sure agreement with all of them. Going to that, and with a hub is Gold's Gym. As we know, Gold's Gym has been empty for a long time, and we're in dire need. I think a lot of our fellow cities have cultural arts center. So if somehow that could be incorporated even a little bit along with doing an art center that would be available for also a pop-up like in San Pedro, or, you know, to have an artist hub, I find that that could definitely be beneficial for the city as well as the community to have that there. So I definitely want to address that lease that they're looking for. We could be looking at our own community full of artists that are needing a place like that, and that could be a big ticket.
Could we also, sorry, last thing that I realized I thought about but I didn't say is, can we send like invitations to our galleries to come into this space, like to the gallery owners in Redondo and to the, you know, maybe we could try to make up a list of, and just invite them here.
Are you talking about coming to the meetings?
Yeah.
That's where you work as a commissioner. I find
you would think.
you would approach it in that manner. Am I correct by thinking that way possibly?
Yeah,
or-
anyone is welcome to come to the meetings. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I can just like
Yeah,
set up.
just reach out. That's
invites.
part of being a commissioner is reaching out and maybe, you know, letting everybody know, and they have a wonderful opportunity to come and speak, to bring more ideas for all of us to help out our community with that, right?
Mhm.
So
Okay,
going
thank
back
you.
to that.
I said thank you.
No, of course. No, I want to make sure that everybody gets their say. I also want to mention about an art map. Again, also, I will join you with Laguna has, as we all know, who have visited such an amazing array of art and artists, and just the push for the city to appreciate all that. They have, you know, an art map, and I think that a few meetings ago, we all had the city, a little city map to do homework about plugging in all of the artwork that we have. I think that's another big thing I'd like to say for the city to do, is have us, Manhattan Beach has it, if you go online. I'm agreement with Orhan to, like, let's get it like in the system more, so we have the ability for visitors and our own community have access to the artwork that's around, so that an art map would be really, really great. And also with our ending balance with the John Parsons Public Art Fund, I definitely want to mention Lilienthal Park that was already in the midst, but nothing was designated there. So our whole goal is to share our ideas and expand it all around our lovely Redondo Beach. So I think that that's, as we know, that was in the approved funding, and it didn't get there, but it could really use some in that part of our Redondo Beach area. So I want to bring that there. And then also going back to grant opportunities that we started with along the Esplanade, that we had Mike Sajo, the lovely artist that came by and did an amazing proposal. I'd like to really direct that because that also, beautification is a big part of our city to come by here. And that's what's encouraging to see, as well as, you know, just putting it on the map and making it like, Orhan, like you said, global. A lot of that is with artwork that's, you know, making a statement on the map, especially as a beach city. That would be really just vital to have too. So, yeah, I'm sure that there's a 1,000 other things when we all leave and it just hits us, but that's what I have to say myself is, shall we make a motion to file and then speak to the public, or would you?
She hasn't spoken yet.
Yes, oh, I'm so sorry. Absolutely, please do.
I have a question. When are we going to meet the consultants?
I don't know. That's something we need to educate ourselves on, where that project is currently. So we will have a better update for you at the next meeting.
Because that, for me, comes into play with what we would like to do and what we would like to see with certain aspects of areas that we would like to create this art in our city.
And Kelly, we can add that to item K, correct? When we get there and put that in there as well, to move it forward to make sure that it's on our next, isn't that something?
Yes.
Okay. Just
Yes, for the consultant, yes.
I love all your ideas. I think that there's some really great ideas out there. And I would like to say that the artists that we would like to help us bring all these ideas to fruition, I would really like to see them be local to our South Bay community and not just artists from anywhere and everywhere, because I think that's what is part of what makes our community. And I would love to see like in Beverly Hills or Laguna, they have like these art fairs where all the local artists come out, and it's like one weekend and it's a big deal and hundreds and thousands of people come.
Talking about Sawdust Festival?
Well, so I was born and raised on the west side. So in Beverly Hills, they have like this Santa Monica Boulevard, which has a lot of like grassy area. It's like one long big park. And every year for a certain weekend, all these local artists come out, they put up all their wares and their whatever they've created, and they have food vendors, and it's a huge, huge gathering. And similar to like Laguna Beach has their thing, and they have pageant and the masters, and I'd love us to have something. But my biggest question is, how do we bring all this to fruition in a short period of time? Because even though the Olympics are a few years away, I mean, the gallery has been worked on for like, it's been 10+ years and it's still, they haven't broken ground. Like they haven't made a lot of progress on their updating or their recreating of the building. So that's my concern.
Is that something where we could ask Jack, as far as rental goes for the, the Performing Arts Center in collaboration then with the community? It's a certain set of dates, right? So you have to have the space in order to do it, correct? If you were to have something like that. And so maybe that's again something in the future where if we get there, then it's going to have to be an ad hoc, right? That's specifically for something like that, because that helps kind of guide along with that specific dedication to what, if we all agree, looking for as part of the commission too. Does that?
Yeah, that is a strategy. The subcommittees are also not required. It could be staff-driven, but commission's input. And if it's helpful too, the way that the strategic plan is generated by council is, let's say your art hub, excuse me, your art hub item. If council wanted that to be on the strategic plan, they would carefully word it so that we as staff knew what they were trying to get at. So your recommendation could be for staff to explore the possibilities of an art hub in the city with consideration of these select locations. From that, then council will decide when the target date that they want staff to return back to them with that information. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, whatever that time span is. And so then we as staff are then tasked with returning to council with that information so that they have the information they need to determine, is this something we want to pursue? Is there anything more we need? Or is this something that we have the money for, let's just hit go on? So I don't know if that's helpful or not as you're kind of generating this, is that we're not going to be turning this around and saying, council, here's everything you need for these items. We're just saying, these are the thoughts of the commission, and if council likes them and wants to incorporate them, they will then determine how quickly and realistic it is for staff to turn around with some information so that they can then make that decision on what they want us to do with it.
Can I make?
Were you done?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
You sure? Or did you got everything out?
Sorry.
Just want to make sure.
I'm okay. Thank
Okay, you got it.
Thank you. But I just wanted to actually reply to your comment, Commissioner Gold. Yes, I think urgency is an issue here, or timing, Things have been going very slow in this town. So what I would suggest, and the only reason I mentioned the Olympics, it's a definite time thing. It's 3 years. But I think obviously, ideally, we need to do all these things much sooner than that, rather than, pegging it to the games. If it were possible, for example, to put into a strategic plan or a document, or even in its introduction, that the city needs to take artistic and cultural development as a priority. Okay? And the reason for that is, look, we are falling behind. That's my personal opinion now. You are very familiar with Manhattan Beach. Manhattan Beach has its own gallery. Art fairs have been mentioned, and obviously Beverly Hills is beautiful. I go there every year. But there is a art fair in Hermosa. They have a beautiful mural program right next to us. Torrance has its own art museum, a very good one too. They have a lot of artistic and cultural activities. El Segundo has a fantastic art walk twice a year. We are a 75,000 member community, and we don't have almost any of these. I think we have 1 or 2 art galleries in the entire city, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I missed some, but so for reasons which we don't really need to get into, art has been neglected as a public priority, public policy priority in this town. But it's not sustainable. We are gonna fall behind. Everybody is gonna, and the last thing I wanna tie this into it has something, it will have effect on reputation. And reputation is important in today's day and age. How do people, you mentioned the postcard city from the, previous decades. How do people look at Redondo Beach? When our kids from our beautiful students from Redondo Beach Union High School apply to colleges, when they see the word, the city, Redondo Beach, what do people think of Redondo Beach? What kind of a place is Redondo Beach? When I carry my business card saying that, Orhan Taner, Redondo Beach Cultural Arts Commissioner, when I present my card, what do people think of Redondo? I think to me, it's very, very important. And one concrete suggestion, and then I stop. I think it would be very helpful if we can do a study of what other cities around us are doing or similar cities, both in size and affluence and economic conditions in our state, in Southern California. And then maybe we can come up with some ideas which are not that costly, which will not put a burden on the city's overall budget. And most of them are self-financing, such as the art fair, because you charge people to set up their tents. And I know it's we have a one-person cultural arts staff, and congratulations, by the way, on your appointment. One I had suggested previously was summer is coming. There are hundreds of college students from Redondo Beach studying arts management, and other related fields who are dying for an internship, either paid or unpaid. We can certainly hire some interns to work with our cultural arts manager to do this kind of research, because I think it would be a very good data for us as well as the commission. So here I stop.
And then I want to make sure that
I
Victoria.
just have a question.
Yes.
So just to clarify, in order for us to get all of these ideas, or at least some of the main points in front of council, you recommend that a letter be drafted?
Yes, that's correct.
Could we put as many of the ideas in it as possible, or
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
or focus on a few that need attention now?
Well, as soon as we finish up the item after we do public comment, and then you guys wrap up your any final comments, I will ask you to craft a motion. It doesn't have to be word for word, but at least a bullet list of the main topics you want in the letter. That way we can make sure you all are in agreement of what topics are included in the letter. And then from there, whoever is selected to draft that with staff, we will work collectively to expand on those in the spirit of the discussion.
And to ask too for clarification, so when you say with staff, do you mean like one of you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll make bullet points that they draft, and then do we like review that?
It would be a back and forth
And that
opportunity.
before, yeah, because it seems like we should start making that letter now,
Well,
right?
That's what they're asking. So
Yeah, so,
they're asking to, our ideas for it, and then pick one of the commissioners to lead, right, Kelly? To lead
Yes.
with the,
Mhm.
and so then one of the commissioners would lead, so sorry for clarification.
No, absolutely.
So one of the commissioners would lead
Then
the
help with
discussion
get
with the
all the
letter.
ideas that all the commissioners would like to see addressed for that.
Okay, yeah, because
to make-
I'm taking notes during the meeting. So I'm trying to keep it all in one space, sort of. So I have some of our discussion already written down, but it's also, I haven't been doing it as like a, I've just been kind of, but I can be a little.
And always, we're
more-
always recorded, so we can always like
Go
look at
back
ourselves and
to.
go back and go back and go back, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So,
Yeah, so should we do see who would like to
We should probably do public comment if
Public
you guys
comment
don't have any
first.
more
Yeah,
discussion, and then we
yes.
can move to a motion.
Yes, let's do, so, is there public comment? There's no public comment? Nobody? All right. Oh,
Georgette Gantner. Congratulations, Jack, yes. Wonderful, wonderful to see you. Redondo Beach has no art galleries. Redondo Beach needs art galleries. 1,000%, you're right. Art, 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 yes, art center. It has been proposed, AES plant to be the art center. Wonderful idea. Many power plants around the world have been converted to art centers, like the Tate. The Tate looks like what we would look like if we cleaned it up. I would emphasize, just as a side point, to go to as many council meetings as you can and say, we need more art. Let's do art, let's do art. Push it, push it, push it as much as possible, because unfortunately, in the past, we have not been an art-related city. And that's why the Redondo Beach Art Group started in 2003, because Nina Zach-Ladden had her vision, and she said, we need to have an art center, and we need to push art, and we need to have art galleries. And we had, and that was a successful group, and we had art shows, but we still don't have a center because we were waiting for the city to come forward and help us. AES, of course, as you know, is in litigation. I would like nothing more than to have that be resolved, and that can happen. I hope it happens soon. I just wonder, have the consultants been hired?
you have to,
Sorry, are they hired? Do we
they
have
are,
them?
I believe that they're working on, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know why it's taking so
Can
long,
we-
so, anyway.
Yeah, we probably should just take
To
public
just keep
comment.
on, yes. so
Okay,
just
all right.
yeah.
The more, and also the idea of having local artists is good, except we've had a whole lot of local artists work on the project so far. I think the more far-reaching you go, we'll bring in a lot of sophisticated artists. It doesn't mean we don't have them here, but I think that maybe should be kept open also. For the during the Olympics, hopefully, or maybe there will be a series of musical concerts of some kind that would attract people coming, and that could bring them to Redondo Beach. As far as the Cultural Arts Commission's purview. Is there, and also, I'm just, I know you can't answer me, is there a committee now that's working on events in Redondo Beach for the Olympics? Wondered if that, that could be happening. So, and I wonder also, are we taking minutes yet for this? Are we taking, hopefully minutes are being taken, just put it that way, because I know they haven't been for a long time.
Is there any online comment? No? Okay. Then we can make a.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, is there anyone
So
else?
go
I think
ahead.
we have-
Please do, please do. Please do.
Hello, my name is Sandy Anlu again. I thank you for the pie in the sky thoughts. I read through what's it called, the Artesia Boulevard Public Art Project, and I noticed a due date of March 25th, I guess, existing conditions assessment. Is this the proper commission that reviews this project? I don't know, and I didn't know if it looks like this is the phase 1 of John Parsons Public Art. But I agree with most of you as far as the Olympics. Not only that, Artesia Boulevard, the more we let it go downhill, the more downhill it's going to go, as well as in Artesia too. We need to get on something. And to me, murals would be the quickest. I mean, I would love the what do you call it, the plant to be transferred into something amazing, but we all know that that's going to take a while. We all know that the Galleria is going to take a while. I would just hope that your commission can prioritize some simple local enhancements that could just give us a little shine. I mean, the Riviera, beautiful. But they've got the beach. They're beautiful. It's already beautiful. But I don't know if I can speak about the project if this is still in play. It's an RFQ, it said, And pardon me, I'm ignorant on all of this politics, but it said something about the vision of reducing vehicle traffic on Artesia. But I don't see that as feasible. What I do see as feasible is planters with art adorned on it, to kind of make a space for restaurants to have outside seating. I mean, it's going to be in the summer, so can we eat outside? A lot of those little restaurants don't have enough space. And I would strongly advise against parklets with benches, because already the bus station buses, benches are not being used for sitting, and they're just inviting challenges along Artesia. And I too, I love the idea of a festival. I was part of the Hermosa Beach Festival. I would wonder if we have a permission to do one on the Southern California, the walkway, the pathway, or even some parking lots. So, thank you.
Can I just make it, oh wait, I want to ask something. Absolutely.
Hi, Rick McQuillan again. I'd like to nominate Sandy Anlu for the consultant's position if something goes wrong with that deal that you've got going right now. She's local, she's right off the boulevard, she's really involved and invested. And just a couple of other quick things. I love what Mr. Tanner is talking about, integrating art into the strategic plan. Sure, why wouldn't it be integrated as opposed to be some overlay or an afterthought? I mean, we should go for it. This is a beautiful city. And one of the things I like about Artesia is it's got so much potential. It's about a 4, we should be taking it to an 8 or a 9. So when those Olympic visitors come in, they're driving down the street going, wow, this is the place to be. This is the place to visit, possibly live. And I'll just mention a couple of other little things. I read the LA Times every morning. There's some interesting things happening right now. We have been obviously redesignated as a low fire risk zone. However, the Getty has just been discussed that they may need to move, believe it or not. You know, they handled the fire very well. I think they had a very powerful fire perimeter that they survived, but let's say that possibly we could start to persuade the Getty to rotate some collection through the gallery or something like that. It's nice, it's safe at 100 feet above sea level. It's in a low fire zone. It's a nice location. It might have to be hardened or something. But, you know, and for that matter too, the Norton Simon is in Pasadena. I haven't heard them talking about having a risk yet, but is there maybe some of these museums might want to consider a rotation plan? So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any? Nobody on Mayhew? Okay. So with that being said, it's pretty big, you know, shall we then make a motion to receive and file?
I would recommend, well, we'll need 2 motions.
Yep, yeah.
Probably just easier to do 2, but select the selection of someone to work with staff on the letter. And then the second one, if, again, it doesn't need to be super deep dive, but just so we can you can all as a commission affirm the main points in the letter, that would be great. So it would need to be more than just a receive and file.
Yeah. But along with that, after we do that, is there a way also, in addition to that, I know we've done it in the past too, where each commissioner would have the opportunity to maybe do a written also, you know, for things that maybe is missed when they do a collaboration with the letter, or like what we have, or does it have to be in tonight's, you know, meeting?
It would need to be in tonight's meeting.
In tonight's meeting,
Yeah,
okay. Because
yeah.
I feel like there's so much that, you know, could be. So maybe we should go all through then, and everybody do a little briefing of what they have, so we can, you know what I mean, have it down a little bit. Would that make kind of sense?
Whatever the
Would that
commission
make sense for you all?
Do you want to first nominate our person to take notes?
Yeah, let's, shall we not go ahead and nominate and then go back to that?
Sure.
I think
Yeah,
would
of
be
course.
a good idea. So why doesn't everybody, can we go left to right or right to left, whatever anybody wants to do, and choose who you would like?
I would nominate you.
Thank you.
I second.
I agree.
Okay, I'd love to.
Wonderful. Okay, so
Thank you.
Thank
do we
you.
have to vote on that then too, right?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So how shall we do that? Just a motion to,
Yeah, I have Commissioner Gold and then Commissioner Tanner made the motion in second to select Commissioner Lawrence to do the letter with staff.
okay.
So you could just say all in favor.
All in favor,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Aye.
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 Hi.
Okay, nobody opposed, motion carries. Wonderful. Okay, so now it would be a good idea to go through, I think, with everybody, so that way it'll be easier for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, can we start with you, Michelle, to go
Sure.
through?
There was the idea of like an art festival or an art fair just for Redondo Beach. And then like have our own gallery night.
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to include it, but I asked about the consultant.
Mhm.
And then I love like all the ideas that everyone has shared. So, but I'll let them share their own ideas if it's easier. And you already know your ideas.
Yeah, but I'll just say that I am more pushing for, well, one thing that I didn't say that happened in the last meeting is we had someone come up and say that there should be some sort of archway. And I just thought that was such a beautiful idea. And it's like really simple, but it's like Romanesque and all that. And if we're trying to like grab people down here, I just wanted to like say that idea again out loud. I just thought it's so great. I don't know, but
I just want to interject with that. There are some things that are dedicated from the John Parsons Public Art Fund that are for public art. And then I want to make sure that there's a little separation between art and beautification or advertisement for the city. So for what I've, seen and with what we have for the John Parsons Art Fund, it's for public art. So that being said, along that corridor, there's expenses that go with engineering and all of that. That's a pretty big project. So I just want to keep in mind when thinking upon things like that, when it comes to the strategic plan and what we can really understand what could be productive and successful and what might be a little bit maybe overly grandiose, if that makes sense.
yeah, so then like just bullet points from today.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I just, if everybody goes through what they feel that they would like to have the mayor and council, what we feel for the strategic plan, what we feel that would be.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are we also, does music and dance and theater and all that, does that fall under Public Arts Commission as well?
Yes.
It should.
Okay, because then I would like to add that most cities have like choir, like for kids, they have a choir, they have some type of group for students. I think it would be awesome if we had something for Redondo Beach, like a local choir, or even something bigger where they perform, and like they could do regional and national type of singing opportunities and competitions.
Okay, write it down. Okay, so, and then I have written down that we have to prepare for the Olympics, having an art hub, possibly a rental space, using the Galleria. This is from Commissioner Tanner. I'm just saying what I have written down. Using the Galleria as a possible art space, joining that with the Artesia district, and then possibly having the power plant as a museum space.
Great.
And I have just double checking my notes here because then I saved that. Michelle, you had said, sorry, that the Seaside Lagoon, possibly being part of that and getting public art in that space and having art in outdoor spaces, and making sure that we have local South Bay artists involved in these projects. That's what I have written down.
And then if I could just add, I think what we heard tonight is that we just need to strongly advise council, whenever they have something new come across their desk, you know, we talked about Artesia, we talked about Riviera Village, we talk about Seaside Lagoon, Galleria, whatever it might be, art should be a part of all of that. So we just strongly suggest that wherever they have a place, please consider what art can be incorporated into it. And I think that that might really help us keep things beautiful, keep things improving. You know, it's not just maybe planters that we're putting out, but can we make those planters more beautiful and inviting in our city? So just strongly encourage them to think about art everywhere that we can. With that said too, though, reminder that it has to be art for the John Parsons. It can't just be something that looks pretty. That does not qualify necessarily as art. That's more beautification, so that that doesn't come out of our budget. So I just want to make sure that we always keep that specified so we can keep our funds separate.
There's a difference between, and we will be going into the next one, so I don't want to digress too far, but our whole thing is public art. So branding and things like that, that's what I want to digress too much in that, but I just want to clarify too, so Cultural Arts Center, right? Because this is what we want to get, and art fair, right? And I also wanted to say, not that I am going back to Laguna, but, you know, summertime is a hot ticket, and it can be, and that can also be included with the Olympics. They do have the trolleys, so, you know, if be it artwork putting on the trolleys, or even doing something that's painted like the red car, but trolleys from North Redondo to go down to the Seaside Lagoon and then go to Riviera to connect us all, right? North and south. That's been like long overdue. So we work together as a community for revenues all around, I think would be really, really wonderful in so many different ways for ongoing events that might be with all the cities. So also for visitors and the community. So I forgot to mention myself that. And then I just want to definitely bring up Lilienthal Park artwork, Lilienthal Street, about that. And then also that past art proposal that was with Mike Saggio, but also as far as that goes, the staff to check on art-focused grants and opportunities for us to have. And I think that was all. And the art map, you got the art map, right?
Yeah, oh, sorry, I have that too.
Okay. I think Cultural Arts Center is very important. Okay. And anyone have some more to add? Yes.
Just many of the things I said have already been mentioned, and thank you, Commissioner Lawrence. I think you'll do a fantastic job. Maybe at the beginning, I would love to see a statement as to what I suggested about the city trying to make arts and culture a priority, because of several reasons, but maybe you can mention something to the effect that, look, I mean, we are falling behind. I mean, our neighbors are getting better. They already have a lot of programs, and we are a big city. We are an old city, but we haven't really done much, even though that we have the most beautiful performing arts center, which none of them have. So we have done something on the performing arts side, but in terms of other forms of art, especially, you know, painting, sculpture, outdoor public art, that kind of stuff, we are galleries, art fairs, we are a little bit behind. So like this whole notion about prioritizing arts and culture in everything that the city does over the next few years. And something to the effect that this will benefit everybody. This will benefit the community, it will benefit the children, it will benefit the businesses substantially because arts and cultures are year-round activities. It's a great complement to our beach activities or for the winter. So maybe we can just plug into a sentence like that. And finally, with specific to the couple projects that we mentioned with the Galleria and I'm sorry, the
Power plant.
the power plant. Again, you know, just evaluating the possibility and trying to integrate something into those projects will make the goals of the city much more easier to attain. Let me tell you what I mean with that. For example, there are certain people in this community who are opposed to having a huge residential project in either of these locations, especially at the AES location, the power plant. If you integrate a large portion of arts into that property, then you can reduce the number of residences. And there will be a lot of people who will support that at the state level. You know, I mean, let me be very clear about that. I was trying to be politically correct, but let me just be very blunt about it. If you don't want to have too many residential units being built there, the alternative is to basically tell them that you are going to make a park out of it, okay? It's a beautiful idea. But selling a museum is much easier than selling a park to the authorities. Selling a museum is much easier than selling a shopping center or even a thing. Okay, so when you go to the state and say, hey, look, you want me to build 4,000 units here, but I only want to build 1,000 because I want to use the rest of the area for a museum, that's an easy sell.
Yeah, and can I just echo you a little bit? I feel like there's also a preservation in what the community of Redondo is, and there's nothing wrong with it being a slower beach community. I think that that's the lovely part about it. I think that it's within the city limits of Los Angeles, and you can escape to it, and it's quiet, and you can walk along the Esplanade and watch the dolphins swim in the ocean, and that's like a guarantee down here. And you know, with like population booms, wouldn't you have less of that? And if we can integrate art into the community and have this be a place as a destination for people to come, it's still lively, but we just, and it already has like the structure for it because from its origin, from the very beginning of what Redondo Beach is, it was a destination town. So,
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
yeah, so thank you too.
So Chair, just to make it easy, if there's no objections to anything that was said, we as staff can work with Commissioner Lawrence to draft this letter. I don't think we need a super formal motion. I think if everyone is on the same page, I think we heard enough on this and we can
Yes,
use
please.
that. Okay,
Yeah. Does that
perfect.
sound good with everybody?
Yes, please.
All right.
But it needs to go under your signature.
Well, I think we make a motion.
Well, it will be
Yeah.
addressed from the commission,
Yeah.
but
Your
drafted.
signature.
No,
Well,
it'll be,
everybody's.
it'll
We
just
all-
be the
We all have a
commission.
vote in that,
Okay.
absolutely. We want to make sure everybody's
Okay.
on board
Yes.
with it. Does that make sense?
That's
Oh, perfect, perfect, yeah.
And we will share the letter with you after it's been drafted and sent to the commission council, so you'll know what was in it, but yeah, if that helps.
So,
You want to move on to the next item?
yes,
Okay, so the next item is,
we're going to go to J2, right?
yes, considering the,
Discussion and provide input on the city's 2025-26 budget.
Yes, so this is another item where we're asking for input for you all to share with the council. So every year, the city council works off of a fiscal budget. The city's budget starts July 1st and ends June 30th of every year. So every May and June, the city council reviews budget recommendations, looks at future projects, looks at funding allocations, and by the end of June, they adopt a budget for the forthcoming fiscal year. And so we're at a point now where we're just looking to all of our commissions, if there are any recommended projects or things that you would like to bring to the attention of council, so that as they're drafting and approving their budget, they can consider the allocation of funds towards whatever it is you guys would desire. This could be general funds, or it could be John Parsons Public Art Funds. I know last year, the year prior, I can't remember, they did kind of earmark certain projects with certain totals with those. So if you have ideas of how any remaining balance could be funded for that, feel free to recommend that. Or again, if you have additional projects that you'd like general fund consideration for, you can also include that as well. So that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I guess maybe just a little clarification. So would this be things that we are hoping to present to the board within the next year and be funded from John Parsons, that we would like for them to earmark from that?
It could potentially be if you know enough about it,
Okay.
but it doesn't have to be either. It could, considering the recent discussion, let's say doing the art map is something you guys want the council to allocate funding towards, and maybe you're just going to suggest 20,000 based off of another project that you kind of have an idea of the funding piece for it. It could be that high level of what you're looking to do, but it doesn't necessarily have to touch the John Parsons either.
Does anybody want to?
Well, I mean, a map would be nice, right? Getting someone to make a map would be pretty nice. And I mean, okay, I have a question though. Does, and this, I should know the answer to this question, but I don't. So are the funds rolling over year to year, right? Or is it like, does it disappear,
The John Parsons Public Art Fund?
Yeah.
Those roll over every year, so
Okay.
whatever's unused will carry over.
So then I don't think we should propose anything at this juncture, because I think that we should come up with like a more rounded plan of.
And there is there is a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that right? Because did everybody go to this part of the,
Yeah.
What's the balance?
it's 62,379.
It's my understanding that that money is allocated for maintenance and upkeep of,
No, that's,
No, go ahead, Joy. No, you're on.
is that right?
that has already been considered, so that.
So it's like that money really doesn't.
I'm just going to hold this button. That, the current balance that shows there, 62,000 and change, is after considering the maintenance money. So that's the current available balance.
Okay.
And then just a little, so the things that we have allocated for this year's budget that have obviously not come to fruition yet, do we request that that be rolled over again to next year's? Or how does that work? We have a lot of projects that
I
we're.
know, there's a lot of items in the queue. It wouldn't hurt to
Okay.
say, please keep these as planned.
Okay.
Because at some point, at any point, the council could come in and say, we want to change this up. So if that is your desire, I would recommend you do that, but it's not necessary. Typically, they will automatically carry over unless the council makes a deliberate.
Okay.
Is it
pull from
possible
that.
to say keep these as planned, but in addition to?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
So especially with, again, Lilienthal Street, is that something where we can?
Sure, if you want to
um,
allocate or request allocation, yes.
Yeah, so, and then maybe also add that into K for future agenda, so that way we can discuss it. Is that also possible?
We could. I think where it gets a little touchy is is the timing of it. We, as staff, will probably wait until after the council makes a determination on the
Determination, okay.
budget to bring it back here.
Okay.
So I
I'm
just
also in a
want
position
to
where I
make sure
want things
that,
to move forward, and so that's why
yeah,
I just don't want it to fall again, and then, so just get a better understanding that
Sure.
way too. Yeah.
I have another question. When does the John Parsons Fund get reallocated so that we have more money in our budget?
it's rolling. So anytime there's new development in the city, money is deposited into that account. So it's contingent on new development in the city. So it's unknown when money will be put in. It could be regularly or it could be once a year. It just is depending on when the developments are coming into the city.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
So like, prior to Gary's last meeting with us, we approved certain artwork for utility boxes. Were those already incorporated into this remaining $63,000+, or was that already pre-allocated? And all the projects that are in the queue, do those have to come out of what's left right now? Or is that, are those funds already accounted for? Because as much as I would love for us to move forward and propose like new projects, I feel like if there's so many projects in the queue, I'd like to get them out and to fruition and be done and just move forward. I mean, it almost makes me feel like I'm the student who is so far behind on my schoolwork that it's really hard to catch up.
Yeah. My understanding is all of the projects have been allocated funding. The only one that I'm unsure of is the utility box. I don't know if that's been accounted for in this. And Jack, I don't know if you are, so we will have to, that's one of the projects that we're going to need to educate ourselves and see where it landed.
Okay, so we approved 5, I think what it was in January. So I'm curious to know where we're at with those.
Yeah.
And then there's also, there's a whole list of utility boxes that
Right.
we could
Do in the
look at
future.
too.
Yeah.
So is that also something that we can put on K to make sure it's on the next agenda too? I just want to make sure that that's on the agenda too, and update with that.
Yeah, and I mean, you certainly can. We will automatically bring it back to you when we're able to, because that's already an existing
Okay.
in the queue project. So we won't let it fall. It's just a matter of Jack and I going back, tracking the last few months and making sure
course.
we don't miss anything, and then we'll start agendizing items as we can.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question about the general budget? Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. Mr. Meyer, like, is there a way of like calculating how much the city spends on arts and culture, on various activities?
Not easily and not quickly,
No, I mean,
to be
like,
honest.
I think eventually it would be a good thing to figure that, you know, how much we are spending on, like, so without making it too long, there's the Performing Arts Center, I assume. Does that make any money?
No. None of these theaters they're all subsidized to some degree.
Right, so the city subsidizes that?
That's correct.
Are there any other arts and culture programs that the city subsidizes? Like, do we have ceramics classes, things like that?
No.
Well, we do have contracted classes where it's a revenue share between the city and instructors, such as karate, ceramics,
Right.
cooking classes.
But
We have
we
those.
don't have a ceramic studio like Manhattan Beach.
That's why we need a cultural arts center.
Right, I know,
Yes.
but I mean, in order to support all our wonderful ideas, I think eventually it will help that to come up with the figure that how much the city actually spends on arts and culture under various line items from all over the spending budget. So
Yeah.
maybe we can get a
You have to
general idea.
define arts and culture at that point.
What's that?
You would have to define arts and culture more narrowly in order to determine which
Okay, so
budget
like-
items apply and which do not.
I mean, I would leave that to you to give it a first try. You know, obviously, street paving is not arts and culture, but a ceramics class could be. I mean, spending all the money that we spend on the Performing Arts Center would be arts and culture.
Certainly.
If I may also ask, how many staff does the city employ specifically on arts and cultural activities, including you?
Through the Cultural Arts Division or outside of it through these contracts and other?
No, Arts and Cults Division.
From our division, we have 1, 2, 3, there are normally 4 full-time positions, one of which is not currently filled, but will be shortly. And then the rest is part-timers. And just the theater staff alone is a revolving pool of 42 people. But those are as needed, depending on their specific skill sets, what show requires their needs. We have 3 docents for the museum. And that's, other than that, it's maintenance staff.
And in terms of, I mean, you are new at this role, but if you need our support to increase your staff to, deal with all that stuff, with wonderful things that we just talked about, is that something that we can help you with? Make a recommendation that you should probably maybe like get an assistant or another person, or maybe I talked about interns.
These are
come
all
up
things
with
that
the
are
intern budget?
possible, but first we are next week presenting a status report on the Performing Arts Center, for instance, to the City Council. And based on that, they may or may not make adjustments to operations, in which case that would affect such a decision.
Okay, but all I'm gonna leave you with is, if you feel that you need additional staff to accomplish what we just talked about over the next couple of years, then I think we would be, I think at least I can speak for myself, be happy to support it at the council level, because, I think, I personally believe that it's understaffed. And at Manhattan Beach, if I'm not mistaken, how many people are in the Arts and Culture Division, roughly, do we know?
I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, my guess is about like 12. Maybe, I may be wrong, but, okay.
Yeah, we do not have as many full-time employees as some cities do for our theater. That is correct.
So then maybe that's something where a commissioner could come and then also speak up like we have here if,
Perhaps what we would have to know where we're going first to
Yeah,
know how many and
yeah.
what type.
yeah.
So we don't really have a recommendation at this point, short of we make our presentation to the city of the current status and options for potential increases in revenue. And if they opt for certain, it would require this many people, and for other options, that many people. So we don't really have a clear answer to or guidance to give at this point.
Right.
The concept is valid, but we can't narrow it down quite yet.
Okay,
Does that help?
we are here to help.
Yeah.
Back to the budget and projects that we have slated. Can we get an update on Gateway? Have we made any progress on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just heard back from the artist today.
Okay.
That's what we've been waiting on for a long time with the revised location, the fact that there were a lot of entitlements and encumbrances and easements in that property, whether or not there was sufficient space for him to actually be able to put the piece there or redesign it to fit. He contacted us today and said he believes that based on the underground imaging that they've done, that he can indeed go forward with this project as designed in that location. So now we're going to proceed to a contract.
Great. And how long do we expect that to take? Will we have the contract signed, do you think, by our next commission meeting?
No idea. That goes back and forth with the city attorney's office. And as our last city attorney liked to say, they move at the speed of democracy.
Thank you. I would just like to ask that it be relayed to City Council that all of the projects that we have budgeted for in this year, that we roll that budget over towards next year, please. And then we also have a few things that we would like to make it in there as well. I know we have utility boxes we talked about, that we want to make sure that that budget is maintained for the following year so we can continue to get those taken care of. And then we also have a subcommittee exploring the LGBTQ
That's gonna go on.
artwork. So I just want to make sure that if that's a time that we can start talking about getting that into the budget as well.
It is, but for the purposes of adding to the budget, they will need to know a general number. So
Okay.
unless there's, I don't know where that project is, but that would be necessary.
But that's where we can also add it to the agenda in K. You know what I mean? To
The budget will go
To-
done before.
well, the budget will be there because we have excess budget in the, in the extra budget. I mean, that, you know, that excess, right? And so there's extra money we can delegate then towards that. There's nothing, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'll always be expanding. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thanks. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Anyone?
And I think the last, we have, so we're still on track with Sea Chatter to happen this July. Everything with that is still,
The Public Works mural? Yes, that's on track. Chair, did you want to do public comment, or did we?
Yes,
have more?
please.
Okay.
Is there any? No e-comments and no more? Does any, there's no public comment? No, Georgia? No? Okay, just making sure. Okay, so then we can go ahead and move on to the next, but make a motion, right?
I do need
Yeah,
a motion for
yeah.
this one, yes.
So we can make a motion to receive and file?
For my own, because we will need to give the update to the council. So
Okay.
I would prefer if you can try to craft a motion that
Okay.
includes all of the input.
Okay, so I might need a little bit of, that's a long one. I'm just saying, I'm just saying it like it is, right?
So can we craft a motion to create a letter that is inclusive of the ideas that we spoke about today?
Yes.
this is just for the budget.
It's just for the budget. So yes, again, I guess we
Oh.
could follow back on the last
And for,
portion.
and then for the budget, to make sure that there is an addition for the utility boxes, that there is a consideration for the subcommittee for the LGBTQ, that, well, okay, this is like kind of on the fence, right? To like move forward with a contract for the Gateway project, right? Is that like a, because that's not really budgetary, but we want to make sure that that's in motion so that way we could get funds to the artist, right?
Well, that's
So-
already in motion and money's already been set aside. So you don't need to do anything
So
with
we
that
don't
one. That
need
one's-
to follow up, we can just listen
Yes.
for that one,
Yeah.
okay? And that's what I've got. So, oh, and to allocate for the Lithnall Street. So it's really three things that we want to
Yeah.
make sure of then. So allocate money towards Lithnall Street. The addition for the utility boxes and the subcommittee for the LGBTQ.
Well, that wasn't about the subcommittee, that was about having funds, delegating funds for that.
Fun, oh, sorry, yeah.
It's okay, just want to make sure, for when that project, future project comes to fruition, when it's chosen, you know, with the commission.
Okay.
Chair, if it's easier, we could break this up into multiple motions.
Yes.
And that way, because I have some clarifying questions, so if we want to go through, I have 4 items that have been discussed, if
Okay.
that's, if
Okay.
it's helpful, we
That's-
can do it
yes.
that way. So the first one is a motion to roll over existing project allocations into the upcoming fiscal year. So is there anyone that wants to make a,
I
just
motion.
so moved? Okay.
Perfect. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries.
Okay, and then the second one is for the LGBTQ project. We just need to know what exactly you're asking the council to allocate for, and then what that projected budget would need to be if you're there yet. If you're not, I'm just not sure how we would include that in a recommendation to the council.
I guess we want to make sure that there's going to be funding for that, which the past subcommittee, we had, as a commission, agreed to a possibility in front of the North Redondo Library, having a sculpture. And so it would be, you know, making sure that there was funds for that, but there's no specific, because also at the time, we were waiting for the consultant and all of that, and, you know, so I guess that was with your question with that, but we have to
Sure.
make it make sense, so.
Yeah, well, maybe I can recommend then for that item is we can ask the council not to utilize the remaining balance of the John Parsons Public Art Fund in anticipation of this future project. And that way you at least know that money hopefully won't be reallocated to something else. And that way we can refine what that project looks like.
I mean, there were two past projects. There was Lilienthal and Big Lots, remember? There was, as far as, and then the funding was not appropriated for that.
For either one of those,
Yeah,
correct?
and so
Right.
those were prior to this, but I think in collaboration with it, Lilienthal, and then the having a sculpture for the LGBTQ, I would be, a good, I think, collaboration with the remaining funds. So if we could
Yeah.
figure that out and
So
and
then that-
share with
yeah.
that, I think.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off.
no, no, absolutely.
So maybe the ask then could be for council to not allocate the remaining balance
Yes.
in anticipation of the LGBTQ project and the hopeful reinvigoration of the Lilienthal.
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone want to make that motion?
Yes. I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries.
Who was the second?
I was.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, and then the last one is for the utility boxes. We would need to circle back and see if those were accounted for. I don't see them listed in the John Parsons Public Art Fund, so my gut's saying that they were not included in this. So if it's helpful, those are typically, depending on the condition of the boxes, those are about $2,000 a piece, maybe close to $2,500 once we pay the artist. So if you have 5 already allocated, that's, can't do quick math in my head, it's a little late today. 12,500, yeah, I didn't want to say it, I don't want to be wrong. So if you want to kind of keep that in mind with the remaining fund balance, we could also include that in the last motion,
But yeah, I
or
was
not
just
the
gonna
last
say that we're
motion,
gonna
but the
have to go
thought with
back though,
council.
aren't we? Are we gonna, because that should have actually been included with the Lilienthal, the.
It can be.
Okay, okay.
It could be part of the ask for council to leave that
Okay.
because we still need to account for that.
Okay,
Mhm.
yes, okay. So should we
Let's
make?
just do another motion just for the utility boxes, similar to what we did on the
Okay,
last one.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I motion.
Okay.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Commissioner O'Brien Herrera, did you motion?
I did.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay,
Was that,
I think that's
that's,
everything. That's
Okay.
all four. Mhm.
okay, now we can go to K?
Yes.
Yes. Commission member items and future mission, commission, commission agenda topics. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to make any referrals?
I think we just covered some of the,
Well, I want to do it again, so that way it goes on to the next topic, and that's why,
okay.
right? So I would like to make a motion for the LGBTQ ad hoc committee to be agendized on the next meeting. I want to make sure that that's on the agenda. And also update with a consultant. I would like to know what's going on with the consultant. And if we can also keep definitely a report every time on what's still going on, what's not, just like this one, just to make sure, and a balance, to see.
Okay, yeah, so like, I think importantly, on the next agenda, and I'm just gonna echo you, is first of all, getting a report on all the projects that we have budgetarily broken out right now, like they're all written down. Those are the projects that we have. Like, first thing is we want to hear what the artist is up to. Can we make a motion for that or something?
Well, we'll all go through and then we can make a motion so everybody can
Okay, for all of these points, like what we, because, like, so we want that, we want an update on the consultant, and we want the balance, the current budgetary balance.
This, we don't make a motion, this is just,
Well, we do, to agendize something in the future, we do need to do a motion.
okay, we can still agendize it. Yeah, right, okay, or we'll put for the agenda, so then we should go through everybody, all the commissioners to go.
And we could do single motions on each item if it's
Okay,
easier to do it
okay,
that way.
Okay, do we want to go through single, go ahead.
Well, we have the utility boxes.
Yes,
LGBTQ project. Lilienthal project. And then you mentioned another project, Michelle. I don't remember.
Oh, our pending projects, or was it, were we talking about
Yeah.
David? So can I just make a motion to add the LGBTQ subcommittee report to our next meeting?
that's what I said.
I made the motion.
Oh, I thought we were still adding to it, sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I did want to make,
Can we just vote on this? Or is there discussion?
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
did you have something else? Can I just mention something too, though? Because it's also for topics that Redondo Beach is going to have their 133rd birthday. And it's going to be at the Dominguez Park, which they open up a new lovely community park for the kiddos. It's by the baseball fields, and it's going to be 11 to 3 Saturday. And it's, everybody's, able to come. There's going to be popcorn, there's going to be activities, entertainment.
This Saturday?
It's going to be the 26th of April. And so it's open for the community. Please come on by. So you can learn a little bit of history and enjoy, and there'll be, definitely some, I'm sure, artists there as well in different ways, and entertainment. So I just want to add that in there.
And cake?
And cake, birthday cake and popcorn.
So Chair, I just want to make sure that we vote on that motion to have the LGBTQ item on
Yeah.
the next agenda.
So is there a motion?
We
I have
had a motion.
something to add.
Oh, can he still add? Yeah, we can still add.
Is it on the LGBTQ item or is it?
No.
Oh,
It's
so,
on the-
Let's,
Item K.
let's motion this one and then add another
okay.
one.
and yeah, we can add some more after
Okay.
that. Yeah, no, that's okay. So if we can vote on this item?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
Yeah, now?
The stuff that we talked earlier about the defining the scope and mission of this commission and forming a subcommittee, if necessary, to come up with a proposal to the council about what the Cultural Arts Commission should be all about. I think we cannot delay this any further. We should definitely discuss and come up with, a methodology of how we want to approach the council on about what we believe that who we are and what we need, what we want to do, what we would like to do. Let's say I propose this as an agenda item.
Commissioner Tanner, is that specific to the bylaw discussion? Is that the same?
Yes,
Item, or is
but,
it-
yes, but the bylaws discussion is not an agenda item currently, or is it?
Right. It's not. I just want to make sure that I'm
Yeah, it's-
understanding what
okay,
you're
yeah.
trying to, yes,
But bylaws is a very, very mechanical term,
yes.
very administrative. I think what we have talked in the past in this commission is a more philosophical document which will translate into bylaws by the staff. I don't want to be in a position to write bylaws. I cannot write bylaws. That's an administrative issue.
Would starting with the bylaws help get us across that finish line to what you're trying to get to? I'm just trying to figure out how best to craft it.
I think what I would love to do is come up with a document to be presented to the council about what the Cultural Arts Commission should be all about. And from there, we can deduct a shorter bylaws for this commission. Or let's say it's the bylaws discussion, yes.
Okay. Okay. Did we want to make a motion for that in the future? Or we were already going to bring that forward,
Yeah.
correct? That was
Yeah.
something that you were working on when Gary was here, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, but.
Okay, so that'll be on our, that's already an existing project that we'll bring forward, yes.
Okay.
But we have to
One,
make a
one,
motion.
one final
to-
thing, to add to the, I would love to initiate a discussion about public-private partnership for arts and culture for the city of Redondo Beach, whether it's outside sponsorships, maybe, naming rights for the Performing Arts Center,
Yeah.
maybe getting grants from foundations, as well as grants from state and county funds, or even national funds.
Grant and opportunities.
Grant opportunities,
Yeah.
exactly, right.
I think we did that in J1. Didn't I mention that in J1? Correct?
It was part of the strategic plan,
Yeah.
yes.
So I mentioned that in J.
Okay,
No, that, I'm agreeing. I think that's wonderful. Yeah, I like that.
right, no, but I think just to expand it into this, I think most of since you mentioned that, we are paying for the Performing Arts Center, I would think that there would be some corporations located very close to our Performing Arts Center, who we provide fire and security services to, maybe donate some money to our Performing Arts Center.
Is that something where on the next agenda, we can get some information about grants or how to, it's never really been quite presented. I know don't we have a grant person for?
The city does have a grant writing contract with someone. So we
Okay.
do have some vendors that do that for the city. I'm trying to think of how best to provide a report on
Right,
this.
right,
Is where
right.
I'm struggling.
Maybe that's just on our own part, I would figure, as commissioners, to research a little bit and then present it and to see if that's an opportunity that Redondo then has, if we're able to do that too. I mean, that would seem like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
And to present that way, and so just, would it be something where if we research ourselves and put it in the agenda, so that way it's in there, and if we come up with something, at least we know, like if there are certain grants, to have then the grant person for Redondo check in on that? Is that something that?
yeah, and I don't know that it needs to be agendized. I think if you ever come across a grant,
Okay.
forward that over to us via email, and we will forward that to our consultant.
Okay.
That's not something that needs to wait for the meeting. We can
Okay.
act on that a lot quicker. So I think that's probably the more efficient way to handle that if you guys come across any.
Yeah, I just thought of something that I think, need to build a bridge between the Performing Arts Center and the Beach Life Festival. I don't know that that bridge has been built yet between the two, but I think that that's necessary. And I think that that's kind of going along with the public-private partnerships. I mean, that would be huge to give an opportunity to the Performing Arts Center. And since it's now the Cultural Arts, Commission and not just public arts.
I
Does that
think it
become
would
our
be wonderful to
responsibility?
find out how Beach Life, with the revenue, can incorporate something for the arts in the city. I think that, I don't know how, do we know how, that's something maybe we're getting off topic, but what they make, I think we kind of, does the city break even with that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't have that
we're
information.
talking like last year at Beach Life, they had Wyland, who is he's a muralist who did the mural that's on the power plant. And he's like an internationally recognized muralist. And we have one of his murals here in our town already. And then he created another one during Beach Life, which is a public arts project. And I feel like that's like, we should be involved in that, or we should be building bridges for other people to be involved in that. So,
How would we put that in?
I don't know.
I believe that there's already a discussion going on between the city and the organizers of that festival regarding ticket revenues. I humbly suggest that we sort of wait until they settle their issues, because we don't want to be, taking sides on this issue. So there is a mechanical issue going on right now that I'm aware of, how the city should generate revenue from the ticket sales of the festivals. It hasn't been settled yet, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a good idea, just like, any kind of private, public partnership that I just mentioned. But because of that particular issue, that I would just wait on that for one more
Yeah, I
month.
think that what some of the people are asking is some of that revenue going into that. That's what I'm taking it from. So I don't think there's any harm with asking about that. Is there?
I don't know enough about,
Okay, maybe that's
About the
that's a future
agreement.
topic to discuss.
yeah, and I just also want to caution, although Jack and I are both here, I'm just kind of helping during the transition. This will be Jack's role, such as what it was for Gary. And so I just want to kind of set expectations too, that while Jack is going to be he is our cultural arts manager, he's also overseeing the RB PAC, which that should be a job in and of itself. And so these are all wonderful ideas, but I also want just to let you know that we most likely will not be able to get all of these agendas on the
course,
next
yeah,
meeting. And so we will certainly try and get them on the agendas as soon as possible, but the more ideas and all of these wonderful thoughts are great, but it is really only Jack and then a few members of his team that can help pitch in when they're available. So I just want to mention that we're not responding, it's just a resource consideration. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
So is that good?
Yeah, I think is that good?
Sure.
Okay.
That's not a no. We're going to do our best.
Yes.
So then we can go to L for adjournment.
Yes.
Okay, is there an emotion to adjourn?
I move to
All right.
adjourn.
Anybody want a second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for everybody.
Who was the second?